I'm really lucky to consider the outdoors as my office on many occasions. And the data set that I have to share with you today is from a field trip that I went on down at the Boyne Island Environmental Education Centre. So I was invited to go down as part of a girls' STEM camp, where there were girls from schools all across Queensland joining together to learn about all different types of applications of STEM, particularly in the marine environment. So when I went down and I did some work with them talking about how we use drones, we flew the micro drones, had a bit of a play with all sorts of things. And then the next day we went to Curtis Island to use my Mavic to actually capture some real data so they could see exactly what I do, how I do it. So the data set that I have to share today, I captured while I was out there with the girls in STEM camp. You can see it's an absolutely beautiful place. So yesterday I shared data that had been orthomosaicked or stitched together, but often I actually have people ask me for images that haven't been stitched yet because they want to practice how to go about the orthomosaicing process. So today the data that I have for you is the raw images, and here at Curtis Island. So many images, and you can actually see that each image is actually really quite similar to the one adjacent to it. And that's because we have this really high degree of overlap between consecutive photos. So as I fly my drone, it will take a photo and then have an 85% overlap with the next photo as it flies along. And I fly in a set plan. It's sort of like a lawnmower. So it flies up, and then as it comes back, it's taking a 75% overlap between the preceding flight lines. So I continue backwards and forwards until it's time to come home. This sort of mission planning is actually really easy to do. There's a number of different apps to do it in. For this particular mission, I use Drone Deploy. It's a free app that you can create this mission plan, and it works off the GPS of the drone. And I was using a Mavic Pro, so it is an off-the-shelf drone with a standard camera and looking directly down. So when I would bring that back into the computer lab, I download all the photos and I run it through a process. And what I will actually see at the end of it is my stitched together orthomosaic, which is the one on the left. It looks natural color, or the way we might see the environment with our own eyes. And the image on the right-hand side is a digital surface model. So areas that you see in red are higher in elevation than those that you might see in the greens and blues. So you can actually see where the coastline is, how there's a bit of a rocky cliff, and it goes down. You can see all the amazing formations in the rocks before we get to the water as well. And so this was taken when the tide was relatively far out, so you can see all the rocks, although obviously as the tide comes in, some of those features would be obscured as well. So this would be the product of stitching together all of those individual images. But my data set of the day are the individual images. So I'd really like to see what you get up to with them, and in particular to hear any insights that you may have.